Well, hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. Before we begin, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Tinubu activates emergency as death toll hits over 150. Clerics fume as headsmen kill 50, shot 15 churches in Makurdi. Afenifere slams Tinubu, says president failed woefully. An article, Orify, Amechi says Tinubu weaponizing poverty. Judiciary workers suspend planned industrial action and water shortage due to ongoing works, says Wiki. On the foreign scene, UK backs Morocco's autonomy plan for Western Sahara. In business news, Nigeria loses $8.8 billion to informal sector yearly, says AFDB. And sports news, 120 golfers for Edo 2025 Peace Series. And in entertainment news, Nigeria hosts a Made in Africa Music Roundtable. Now the news in detail. Now, President Bola Tinubu has directed the National Emergency Management Agency to activate the National Emergency Response Center in Niger State and scale up urgent humanitarian responses to meet victims' needs. The president explained that his directive was necessitated by a briefing from NEMA, followed by the rising humanitarian situation after the Mokwa flood in Niger State, in which over 151 persons have so far been reported dead and hundreds of houses washed away. Extending his heartfelt condolences to the affected families and the state, Tinubu said that while search and rescue operations continue, all relevant federal agencies have been mobilized to support the state government's efforts. He added that relief materials and temporary shelter assistance were also being deployed without delay, and that the government would ensure that no Nigerian affected by the disaster is left behind or uncared for. Meanwhile, a NEMA spokesman, Ibrahim Hosseini, said the sharp increase from the previous death toll of 115 came as bodies were recovered nearly 10 kilometers from the epicenter of the floods. While he disclosed that a total of 3,000 persons have also been displaced, as over 250 homes were leveled and roads and bridges washed away. And now the Nigerian Catholic Diocesan Priests Association has cried out against the continued deadly attacks on innocent, unarmed citizens by armed headsmen in Benue State, stating that over 50 people have been killed and 150 Catholic parishes forced to shut down in just 1 month. Addressing the media on Sunday, Chairman of NCDPA in Makurdi Diocese, Reverend Father Joseph Beba, said the ongoing violence is a calculated and coordinated effort to wipe out thief communities. Accusing security forces of complicity and inaction, Father Beba said the military was silent and passive while communities were being attacked, citing the shooting of the priest in charge of St. John's Kwasi Parish in Jimba, Reverend Father Solomon Atongo. According to him, among many similar others, Atongo was shot 500 meters from a military checkpoint at Say Obiam, and the community later attacked, but no response from the stationed personnel. The clerics described the acts as inhuman, barbaric, and a gross violation of the sanctity and dignity of human life, adding that the attacks are a direct assault on the Bishop of Makurdi Diocese and the Catholic Church he represents. Well, in a related development, a pan-Yoruba socio-political organization, Afenifere, says that President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope has turned into a nightmare for Nigerians, accusing the administration of engaging in massive propaganda that claims false successes. The national leader, Oba Oladipo Olaiton, and National Publicity Secretary Justice Faloye, said the Tinubu administration's midterm report showed that every human development and socio-political index regressed. According to the statement, rather than take full responsibility for the unmitigated sufferings inflicted on Nigerians in the past 2 years on account of its wrong policy choices and wasteful spending, the Tinubu administration has engaged in massive propaganda, claiming false successes and shifting blames to global and historical factors and showing scant empathy for ordinary Nigerians. Among others, it further stated that basically, due to unforced errors, especially the oversight of the production element of subsidies and floating the naira without any preparation to cushion the predictable impact, the Tinubu economic reforms have turned out to be Tinubu economic deforms. It also stated that the Tinubu administration is destructuring instead of restructuring the military-imposed constitution towards true federalism by showing increasingly centralizing tendencies to further weaken the federalist elements in the constitution by attacking federating units with the takeover of their local governments. Well, still on the issue of governance, frontline opposition politicians, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and ex-governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, have slammed President Bola Tinubu's administration, saying it is weaponizing poverty. Speaking in Abuja at a 60th birthday lecture in honor of the former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, Atiku said that Tinubu was using his economic policies to weaponize poverty, which prompts the alliance to ensure it does not continue. For El-Rufai, Nigeria at the moment is in its biggest struggle since 1914, adding that the opposition is working towards a coalition to take Nigeria back. Similarly, Amechi said the gains of the subsidy removal and forex unification policies are in the private pockets of a few individuals in government. According to Amechi, at a point the country was paying close to 5 trillion naira in oil subsidy, but having stopped the 5 trillion naira is nowhere to be found. He stated that if the Tinubu government drops it on the economy, citizens would not be crying. Therefore, they are aligning with the opposition to see if the opposition could lead the nation out of this problem. And now, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has commended the former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, saying he demonstrated courage by refusing to step down for Bola Tinubu during the All Progressives Congress presidential primaries in 2022. The playwright, who spoke in Abuja at Amechi's 60th birthday celebration, said he was particularly moved by Amechi's defiance at the primary election, which he followed live from Abu Dhabi. Soyinka said he attended the birthday ceremony mainly because he admires Amechi's fighting spirit, which he described as a very consistent one. According to Soyinka, Amechi's decision to stay in the race reminded him of Tinubu's defiance during the Olusegun Obasanjo era, when he was known as the last man standing, when he fought to a standstill a former president who was maneuvering himself into position to change the constitution and obtain a third term. Over now to judicial matters. As the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has suspended its planned nationwide industrial action originally scheduled to commence on the 2nd of June for 2 weeks. In a statement, the Public Relations Officer of the JUSUN National Judicial Council Chapter, Joel Ebiloma, said the strike was postponed following the intervention of the Minister of Labor and other stakeholders after a series of meetings with union leaders over the past 48 hours. Ebiloma said the 2-week reprieve was granted to allow the relevant authorities time to resolve outstanding issues. The meetings, he said, involves representatives of JUSUN from various federal judicial bodies, the Labor Minister and other judiciary stakeholders as mandated by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun, to prevent the closure of courts on June 2. According to him, it was specifically agreed that the minister and other key stakeholders be given 2 weeks to address the pending challenges with the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. He added that during this period, the Accountant General is expected to release the statutory allocations to the judiciary in accordance with the 2025 Appropriation Act, which includes areas of the wage award, minimum wage, and the 25 to 35% salary increase. Well, away from that report, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says the lack of water supply in Abuja city center and several satellite towns is due to the ongoing rehabilitation works at 2 of the 4 water treatment plants serving the area. He added that water supply will be rationed for the next 2 weeks. In a statement by his senior special assistant on public communications and social media, Larry Olayinka, Wike explained that 2 treatment plants were temporarily shut down for rehabilitation while the remaining 2 continue in operations. He appealed for patience from residents, stating that the ongoing rehabilitation is aimed at improving service delivery and will be completed within 2 weeks. Meanwhile, to ease the impact during the Salah celebration, he said the 2 treatment plants undergoing repairs will be temporarily activated to provide water during the festive period. Well, you're still watching News Hour on Voice of the People TV. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Step into a world where stories unfolds, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power.
Welcome back, everyone. And now the federal government has relaunched the National Talent Export Program to drive the country's renewed target of a significant share of the $1 trillion global outsourcing market. Announcing the relaunch in Lagos, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Uduwole, said the revamped program is a key part of the economic diversification strategy and youth empowerment agenda. She says that NATEP, which is headed by Teju Abisoye as Director General, will increase or create 1 million export-linked jobs and up to 5 million indirect jobs within 5 years, while attracting over $1 billion in foreign direct investment into the service export sector. In a statement, Oduwole explained that Nigeria's youthful English-speaking population, as well as a growing digital infrastructure and strategic time zone, give the country a competitive edge in global outsourcing and remote work. According to the statement, the renewed program will position Nigeria's youth as a world-class talent pool for digital and professional services. Oduwole added that NATEP is designed to empower Nigeria's youth, harness global service export opportunities, and drive inclusive economic transformation. Well, away from that story, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has filed a fresh 8-count charge against the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, alleging that he stole and unlawfully acquired 753 housing units located at Plot 109, Cadastral Zone CO9 in Lokongoma District, Abuja. In the suit filed at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the EFCC accused Emefiele of also being in possession of billions of naira in proxy accounts while serving as the CBN governor. It further alleged that Emefiele conspired with one Eric Ocheme to acquire the properties in August 2021. According to the EFCC, between January and December 2019, Emefiele had 167 million naira in a proxy account with Zenith Bank in Abuja, which prosecutors said is reasonably suspected to have been unlawfully obtained. It further alleged that between January and December 2020, the accused and his co-conspirator, Ocheme, held 1.23 billion naira in the Kelvito Integrated Services account domiciled with a Zenith Bank, reasonably subjected to have been unlawfully obtained. Away from that, Governor Alex Otti of Abia State says that his election into a second tenure in office is in the hands of God. Otti spoke during a civic reception organized by the Oha Isiala Ngwa people of Isiala, Ngwa North and South local government areas in recognition of his performance across the state, especially in those local government areas. Amid endorsements and calls for his re-election in 2027, Otti said his decision on a second term will be guided by divine will. While thanking the people for their support, Oti said Abians that there is still a long way to go, adding that just as 2023, 2027 will also be in God's hands. To that end, he said he would consult God and make his response public in due time because he knows that the people are waiting. Meanwhile, Oti explained that his administration's deliberate investment in Aba is anchored on the town's potential to drive the state's economic growth. He further reaffirmed his commitment to inclusive governance, adding that his government was working simultaneously across all parts of the state. Over now to Akwa Ibom State, where Governor Umaino has dismissed the trending video allegedly released by a member of his family over the death of his wife, stating that his family remains united. Eno, who responded to questions from government house correspondents over the video, said a multitude of such insinuations and character assassinations will not distract him from implementing his development agenda and fulfilling his social contract with Akwa Ibom people, explaining that it is a political time and that anyone could expect more of that. He stated that his family is intact, wondering why the issue being referenced was surfacing and trending now. He noted that it happened immediately after his wife's passage last year. According to him, this means there are detractors around. The governor further stated that the pressure on children when they lose a loved one could be traumatic. He further appealed to the public not to bring back sad memories, but allow his wife's peaceful soul to rest in peace. Well, turning to other stories, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has commended Nigerian pilgrims participating in the 2025 Hajj for their honesty in voluntary returning lost cash and valuables to their rightful owners. In a statement in Makkah, the head of public affairs of NACON, Mohammed Musa, highlighted the numerous acts of uprightness by pilgrims who have consistently returned misplaced funds belonging to both Nigerians and foreigners. According to him, these acts of integrity attest to the moral character of Nigerian pilgrims who continue to distinguish themselves positively on the global stage. He particularly cited one of the pilgrims, Bello Ajani, from Ede local government area of Osun State, who found 200 Saudi riyals, which is approximately $53.31, and returned it through the Special Assistant on Islamic Affairs to the Oyo State government, Abdul Rashid Abdulaziz. And in a show of compassion and support, the Olarunke Thaddeus Foundation, in partnership with Meet Surrogate Mothers Agency, hosted its second annual free IVF initiative dedicated to helping women achieve their dreams of motherhood. With 12 winners receiving free IVF treatments, the program also featured heartfelt stories, expert advice, and powerful testimonies from speakers and participants. VOP TV's Onyidamola Olukuton reports. Looks like we don't have that report at the moment, but we will bring it.
December, still open on God. So I got to know about this foundation from my assistant principal. I just walked to a class to pick a child for an activity. Then she said, Miss Yemisi, thank God, thank God, thank God. Please, I will send you a link now. Just go and do whatever they ask you to do there. So she sent me the link. I saw the group, the foundation. I was told to have a medical test and my husband, which we did. Then I'll be hoping on God. Then before then, there was this program Baba Deboye did for those waiting. That was last year, September. So I went. Since then, I've been trusting God. That God, I know I need babies. This is what the doctor said, but I believe what you said. How it's going to come, I don't know. But what I want to have my own babies. So along the line, I kept on praying, praying. This is, let me say, this is result of prayer. Then I kept, why call me this morning? So I got the invite. So why call me this morning? It's just drop in my spirit that I should be saying this, that among thousands, among thousands, Jesus heard the voice of Bartholomew. Even though there's going to be millions of people here, you will single me out for testimony. And here I am today. God singled me out for testimony.
I wouldn't say it's unexpected because I've been praying. And I know that coming here, I'm not going back empty handed. So that is why when they called my name, I was so excited. I feel as if God has answered this prayer that I've been praying since last year. That this year platform, this year foundation, I will be one of the lucky winners. So I'm so happy. Yeah, I got married 2018. And before getting married, I do necessary treatments for myself. So that's why as I enter into marriage, I will start raising a family. But things didn't happen that way. Though after like a year, I got pregnant within a week. Initially, I didn't know that there was pregnancy, so I lost it. So after 2 years, no pregnancy is coming, so we decided to give a try for IVF. So after the IVF, the journey went successfully. The pregnancy was positive, but after 6 weeks, I just lost it without no cause. It wasn't really easy. My life just went blank. In fact, that very day that they said just go for evacuation. So as if the whole world has ended. So I lost it. So I was trying to find out what really happened that I lost that pregnancy because I was very fine, I was very okay. So I tried to make more, to visit some doctor, to make some research or whatever they call it. So after some, I think it was last year, I came across one doctor online. So I do this consultation. They say I should go for HLG. After the HLG, they discovered that I was having problem from my uterus. So they asked me to do diagnostic seroscopy. The first time, it was not really easy. Even I nearly lost my life during the process. So they said they couldn't complete it because I was bleeding so much. So the second time I have to went back. That was last year December. I did it. So the doctor said, now they have done it, you can go for IVF again. That you are free. And I say, IVF, okay, where I want to see the money because we have exhausted. We have exhausted all our financial, Even the first IVF, people contributed for us to go for it. So when I came across this platform again, I was say, this year again, let me quickly apply. So that's how just I applied. And God did it.
I'm so happy and I'm overwhelmed because I didn't even plan that I would be among the winners. And today I'm holding my baby in my hand. Look at this. I'm very, very happy and I'm grateful to God for being among the people that they picked. It's not by my power, but it's the grace of God and the grace of the foundation who are the people that has organized this event. That is Mrs. Olarunke, Mrs. Olarunke, Miss Surrogate Mom.
Super excited. I'm grateful to God Almighty for doing these wonders in my life. Actually, I never expected this, and this was my first time. But it's so surprising that when I got here, my name was called because I know what I've gone through. I know the pains, the feelings. It got to a stage I almost gave up. Like I wanted to commit suicide due to issue of infertility or something. But God just said I should move on, that I should go ahead, that there is nothing he can do. And for this program, this foundation, Funke tedious program that I came to, honestly, I never believed it would come out this way. But to God be the glory. I give thanks to them, give thanks to God Almighty for his wonders, for using them into my life, for using them to give me a wonderful child. Honestly, I so much appreciate and give thanks to them a lot.
The event featured several prominent speakers who shared their insights and experiences. Actress Iniedo opened up about her own journey to motherhood, encouraging women to stay hopeful despite setbacks.
Today, I stand before you with both gratitude and purpose. Gratitude for the miracle of life that surrogacy helped bring into mind. Purpose, to shed light on an often misunderstood journey and to advocate for a world where surrogacy is not seen as a baby factory, but as a deeply human, compassionate act of collaboration and hope. For years, I dreamt of becoming a mother, but life, as it often does, had its own plans. After countless trials, tears, and moments of deep questioning, I came to a point where I had to redefine what motherhood would really look like for me. That is when I opened my heart to surrogacy. It wasn't an easy decision, trust me, especially for someone like me who's a public figure. There were fears, there were doubts, there were the what ifs. But beyond all of that, there was also hope. Hope that somehow, somewhere, the child I had been longing for would find its way to me. Choosing surrogacy reflected deep desire and commitment to becoming a parent, even when faced with medical or biological barriers. For many, the road to parenthood is linear. For others like me, it wins through unexpected turns. Medical struggles, emotional setbacks, dreams deferred. After years of trying, praying, grieving, surrogacy wasn't my first choice. It was my last hope. And through it, I've been given the greatest gift of all, a child. My child. The day I held my baby in my arms for the first time, everything else just faded away. The pain, the waiting, the questions, it all made sense. It was finally, I was a mother. Not because of how my child came into this world, but because of the love that now fills every corner of my life.
Health advocate Nancy Ume urged attendees not to give up on their dreams, sharing stories of resilience and perseverance.
This is the only person I have seen in my life offer free IVF cycles, no strings attached. So yeah, we should applaud her. She's doing an amazing job via the Olarunke Third Years Foundation. So yes, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be part of it. I have worked with her agency in the past, and I'll tell you, she is an angel. And congratulations to all the lucky parents who are going to be recipients of the free IVF cycle today. Education, I think it starts from primary schools. Of course, the government cannot control everything, but if people knew that it's okay for somebody else to have issues giving birth without having to, stereotype the person or make the person feel bad, that would be nice. And I think the government can do that by creating awareness, by, informing the public, because I started sharing my journey for infertility, and I'll tell you that people were really say, oh, keep quiet, go inside, stop talking, oh, you shouldn't be saying these kind of things outside. That type of stereotype can make people go depressed. The government can actually help by teaching people from primary school, doing this whole public awareness that it's okay if you're married and you don't have children. People are normal even if they don't have children. They don't need to be shamed for it. They don't need to be made to feel bad. Yeah, that's what I think. And the government can also regulate clinics, of course.
COS Ayuba drew attention to dangers of baby fractures, warning about the risks they pose to children, women, and society at large, and emphasized the importance of ethical alternatives like IVF and surrogate.
When we say something is unethical, we mean it's breaching the established standard of conduct or behavior within a particular organization or profession. Now we have immoral. That's number two. That's another definition again for unethical. When we say something is unethical, we mean it's morally wrong or it's immoral. Now the means, when we talk about the means, it talks about the process in which something is produced. A process in which something is established. Now parent has to do with a source or origin of something. Now a baby is a very young human, particularly from birth to a couple of years old until walking is fully mastered.
Legal expert Kennedy Chiyozi discussed the legal frameworks that can support IVF and surrogacy process, emphasizing the need for laws that protect all parties involved.
It's a welcome development, and I believe it has come to stay. It's one of the alternative means of bringing respite to people who have fertility issues or medical issues or conditions that makes them unable to conceive or carry children to full term. So it's one of the byproducts of the assisted reproductive technology. It's an assisted process, and with the arrangement, a surrogate, that's a woman, volunteers herself to help carry a baby, a pregnancy rather, through fruition. And at the end of the day, after the delivery, the child becomes that of the intended parents. it's a good thing, and it has brought respite and hope to a lot of waiting women. If you were in the event in the hall, you would have seen lots of women celebrating, lots of testimonies to mark this worthy achievement in the area of reproductive health technology. So surrogacy has come to stay. We should promote it. We should give it support. And all the gray areas that has to do with surrogacy in Nigeria, we need to treat it. And the best mode is actually to effectively come up with comprehensive laws that will regulate it in totality, the aspects, so that all the parties involved, the intending parent, the surrogate, the child that comes out of that process, everybody is well regulated. And at the end of the day, it brings certainty and removes exploitation in the entire arrangement.
Well, we'll take another break before more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back. On the foreign scene now, the United Kingdom government has backed Morocco's plan for resolving the Western Sahara dispute, reversing its long-held position to win greater access for British companies ahead of the 2030 World Cup. Foreign Secretary David Lammy said endorsing Morocco's autonomy plan for Western Sahara, which would leave it under Rabat's ultimate control, was the most credible, viable and pragmatic basis to achieving a lasting solution for the contested territory. Lamy's comments, which he made during a visit to Morocco, mark a change of diplomatic position by Britain, which has long said the status of Western Sahara is underdetermined. They are also likely to anger Algeria, Morocco's neighbor and rival, which hosts and supports the Polisario Front, the Sahrawi group of fighting for independence for the territory. The arid and sparsely populated territory was annexed by Morocco in 1975 following Spain's withdrawal from its North African colonies. While Morocco and the Polisario Front struck a ceasefire in 1991 after 16 years of conflict, the 100,000 square miles of territory in Northwest Africa remains disputed and the UN-mediated process remains stalled. Morocco at present administers the majority of Western Sahara, while the Polisario Front controls a sliver of free zone land on the Algerian and Mauritanian borders. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine will participate in the second round of negotiations with Russia set to take place in Istanbul on Monday, the 2nd of June. In a statement posted to his official Telegram channel, the president said the delegation will attend the talks, adding that the country is doing everything to protect its independence, its state, and its people. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov announced the talks on Wednesday evening, saying that Moscow would present a memorandum towards a ceasefire to Kyiv at the talks. Kyiv initially delayed confirmation, requesting to review the Russian memorandum in advance. Ukraine's Defense Minister Rustem Umerov said Ukraine had already submitted its own memorandum to Russian envoy Vladimir Medinsky and emphasized that talks must yield results, requiring thorough preparation and transparency from both sides. Zelensky said he had given clear directives ahead of the meeting, outlining Ukraine's key demands: a complete and unconditional ceasefire, the release of all prisoners, and the return of abducted Ukrainian children. He also called for a high-level summit between the two countries' leaders to reach lasting peace and ensure long-term security. Rustem Umerov will lead the delegation. And now no fewer than 31 people were killed on Sunday morning in southern Gaza when Israeli troops opened fire on crowds making their way to collect aid from a new distribution mechanism backed by Israel and the United States. Over 170 others were also wounded in the Rafah shooting, officials said, marking the deadliest incident yet as Palestinians desperately scramble for food despite the danger. The Israel Defense Forces said it was currently unaware of injuries caused by IDF fire within the humanitarian aid distribution site in Rafah, adding that the matter was under review. However, the privately run Gaza Humanitarian Foundation administering the facilities said that any reports of deaths or injuries at its sites are false and fabricated. Since its inception on Monday, there have been daily reports of Palestinians coming under Israeli fire as throngs surge toward distribution sites in southern Gaza. The IDF said that in one incident last week, it fired warning shots to disperse crowds. The circumstances surrounding Sunday's mass casualty incident were not immediately clear. And now, United States Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says he has asked Australia to increase its defense spending to 3.5% of gross domestic product as soon as possible. According to Pentagon, Hegseth made the request during a meeting with Australian Defense Minister Richard Marris. The defense chiefs also discussed security issues, including accelerating U.S. defense capabilities in Australia, advancing defense industrial-based cooperation, and creating supply chain resilience, the Defense Department stated. The ministers' meeting on the sidelines of the Shangri-La Dialogue, Asia's premier security forum, is only the second between the security allies since U.S. President Donald Trump took office in January. Marris said after the meeting they did not discuss a specific percentage of GDP to raise. United States Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he believes President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping will speak soon to iron out trade issues, including a dispute over critical minerals. President Donald Trump on Friday accused China of violating an agreement with the U.S. to mutually roll back tariffs and trade restrictions for critical minerals. Bessent said in an interview that China is holding back products that are essential for the industrial supply chains of India and Europe, adding that it is not what a reliable partner does. However, he said he was confident that when President Trump and Xi have a call, this will be ironed out. Nevertheless, he said the fact that they are withholding some of the products they agreed to release during the agreement may be a glitch in the Chinese system. In business news, the African Development Bank has disclosed that Nigeria loses about $8.8 billion to uncaptured tax every year due to its large informal economy. In its 2025 African Economic Outlook, AFDB reported that while informal businesses contribute significantly to economic activities and employment, much of the generated wealth remains outside the tax system, leading to substantial revenue losses. It stated that informal enterprises, including street vendors, smallholder farmers, and micro and small businesses, make up a significant share of economic activities across Africa, but remain largely untaxed. According to the report, by analyzing data on informal output relative to formal output, tax revenue as a share of GDP, and the estimated foregone revenue from nominal GDP across 46 African countries amount to approximately $125 billion. It noted that the estimate will be higher if data from all African countries were available, adding that the largest estimates of foregone revenue are concentrated in the continent's biggest economies, including Nigeria at $8.8 billion. Now, reports from the Energy Information Administration have revealed that Nigeria's crude export to the United States rose from 358,000 to 364,000 barrels per day after the Dangote Petroleum Refinery reduced its daily fuel production between April and May 2025, noting that U.S. crude and fuel inventories fell last week, while crude imports from Nigeria hit its highest level since October 2019. The report stated that the jump comes as Nigeria's 650,000 barrel per day Dangote refinery faced an unplanned outage from April 7 to May 11. According to the report, crude inventories fell by 2.8 million barrels to 440.4 million barrels in the week ending May 23, compared with analysts' expectations of an 118,000 barrel rise. It was further learned that U.S. crude exports rose during the week by 794,000 barrel per day to 4.3 million barrel per day, which helped push inventories lower. However, Dangote Refinery is expected to operate its gasoline-making unit at reduced rates through October after a string of issues in recent months. Now, the last trading session of the Nigerian Exchange Week closed on a bearish note, with the equities market capitalization declining by 48 billion naira, which reflects a sustained negative investor sentiment. Market capitalization dipped to 70.5 trillion naira at the close of trading from the previous day's 70.548 trillion naira, while the all-share index depreciated by 76.07 points or 0.07% to close at 111,742.01 points. However, in spite of the decline in key indices, a trading surged significantly with a total of 1.9 billion shares valued at 64.15 billion naira exchanged in 18,653 deals. This represents a 242% increase in volume and a 774% rise in turnover against the previous trading session. Also, market breadth closed negative with 27 gainers against 37 losers out of the 128 listed equities that participated in the session. Well, in sports news, in a symbolic gathering aimed at harnessing the unifying power of golf to promote peace, love and national cohesion, about 120 golfers are set to participate in the 2025 Golf for Peace Series. The event billed for June 7 targets using golf to promote peace and national unity and is organized by Hartlink Ventures Limited, supported by the Office of the Chief of Defense Staff. Initiator and lead coordinator of Golf for Peace said it is a response to the recent national need for peace, unity and reconciliation. According to her, golf has been proven to be a good unifying force, and Golf for Peace is leveraging that to promote national unity. Describing herself as a sportspreneur, she explained that when they are involved in sports, all the country's numerous differences do not show. She added that similarly, even when Nigerians are watching football, they always forget whatever part of the country each person comes from. And Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen have placed a 50 million euros prize on Super Eagles attacker Victor Boniface as transfer rumors hint of his departure from the club. The 24-year-old had a stellar debut season with Wexel scoring 21 goals and providing 9 assists in 34 games across all competitions, while winning the league title and the DFB Pokal under coach Xabi Alonso. However, his form dipped in the just-ended season, during which he scored just 11 goals in 27 outings for the club, largely due to injury. However, with the summer transfer window approaching, it seems Leverkusen are trying to cash out on the Nigerian attacker. Reports in German sports media say the club have lowered their asking price for striker Boniface in a bid to offload him this summer. The former Union Saint-Gilloise forward was close to sealing a 70 million euros deal to Al Nassr during the winter transfer window before the Saudi Arabian side opted for John Duran. Well, in entertainment, Nigeria is set to host the first African Music Business Roundtable aimed at uniting the continent's key stakeholders, policymakers, academics, and innovators from the music sector. Slated for June 3 to 5, 2025, the roundtable will serve as a vital forum for in-depth discussions on the key factors shaping the future of African music, including data, policy, and copyright infrastructure. The event also aims to capitalize on the momentum to create sustainable systems that promote growth, transparency, and investment as the African music industry gains outstanding global visibility. Co-founder Michael Odion disclosed that top executives from record labels, rights organizations, government agencies, insights firms, and investment firms, among others, as well as independent creators and innovators driving the industry, are respected at the event. According to him, it is a pivotal moment for Africa's music ecosystem, and by gathering the right minds, actionable strategies that benefit everyone in the value chain can be developed. Now, after over 300 films, Nollywood star Omotola Ekinde has made a directorial debut with the release of a film, Mother's Love. Co-produced with Tina Obayagbon, the film explores themes of maternal sacrifice, redemption, and the quiet strength of women weathering life's harshest storms. Filmed in Nigeria and featuring talented actors including Ifeanyi Kalu, Nori Nehita, and Lilian Afegbai, among others, the film blends English and Pidgin dialogue to reflect the authenticity of its setting. Speaking on the film, Omotola said she has always believed in the power of African stories told by Africans, adding that after years of acting, she felt compelled to shape narratives from the director's chair. She further expressed pride in launching this next phase of her career with a film that centers women's voices and lived realities, explaining that Mother's Love is a story close to her heart. Mother's Love will begin its festival run later this year, while the release date will be announced soon. Well, it's a wrap on News Hour, but before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Tinubu activates emergency as death toll hits over 150. And clerics fume as headsmen kill 50, shot 15 churches in Makurdi. Afenifere Islam's Tinubu and says president failed woefully. Atiku, El-Rufai, and Mechi says Tinubu weaponizing poverty. Judiciary workers suspend planned industrial action. And water shortage due to ongoing works, says Wiki. On the foreign scene, UK backs Morocco's autonomy plan for Western Sahara. In business, Nigeria loses $8.8 billion to informal sector yearly, says AFDB. Well, in sports news, 120 golfers for Edo 2025 Peace Series. In entertainment, Nigeria hosts a Made in Africa Music Roundtable. Do also subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we have Voice of the People TV, and on all the social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Vivian Oguche, and thank you for watching.